Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. The good and what people tube. Hello there, everybody. I hope you're well. Today's video, everybody, is about the legendary Eric Clapton Beano Bluesbreaker guitar tone on a budget. That's what I was trying to say before I got waylaid and distracted by a squirrel. Anyway, no. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. The Beano tone is like one of those most iconic guitar tones ever. It just is. You know, it's one of those guitar tones. I think it's like one of the first recordings of a distorted guitar. You know, that's kind of like that made a real mark. You know what I mean? There was distorted guitar recordings before that, but the Beano tone Eric Clapton on this album, it made a massive impact, and that guitar tone made a massive impact. So I thought it would be quite a cool video to do. Would be to kind of like, you know, kind of deep dive, if you will, into that sound. And also try and get that sound on as little budget as I humanly can, with as little gear as I humanly can. And I think I got kind of close, as close as I can get to it. So, so let's talk about what I'm using first, then we'll talk about a bit more about the history and, you know, a bit more about kind of how Eric got that tone and what he was using and certain other things. And also one thing which I think is massively important for this sound. Okay, so for this video, all we're going to use is the Boss Katana 50 Mark 1 and the Revelation RTL 59. That's it. The only pedal that's going to be in line is the Ditto looper, but I'm only using that as a backing track. You don't need that. It's a true bypass pedal. It's not affecting the sound of the amp in any way. It's just there simply so I can have some kind of backing like in the intro jam. And that's it. That is literally it. It's guitar and amp, just in the same way Eric's setup was guitar and amp. There was rumours he used a treble booster. I don't feel that, and Eric never says that he used a treble booster. He just said it, you know, it's a Les Paul and a Marshall, you know, and that was it. And he was just turned up to 10. So anyway, so that's what I'm using. Let me tell you, I've got the amp set up, and then we'll talk about Eric and how he did his. So on the Katana 50, I'm using the brown mode. So it's kind of the highest gain mode, but I have the gain turned all the way down on 0. So gain's all the way down, no gain whatsoever. And with the humbuckers and on the brown mode, it just drives it. So it's like edge of distortion kind of overdrive. It's not really distortion, it's kind of like a broken up amp kind of sound, which is what you want for the Beano tone. It's not. The Beano tone isn't mass distortion, and it's not slightly dirty. It's kind of like an overdrive, broken up amp kind of sound. It's edge of breakup, but not fully distorted. It's still got a lot of clarity. So, brown mode, gain on 0. I've got the volume all the way up on the amplifier section of the thing. So going over to EQ section on the amp, I have bass at 12 o'clock, so bass is straight up. I have middle at about I would say somewhere between 10:30 and 11. So it's like somewhere there to there. It's quite hard to actually kind of like, it's somewhere between them. You know, you'd have to dial it in that way. So the middle is somewhere like basically about 10:30, 11 o'clock kind of thing. No treble. Treble is on 0. Surprise, surprise. Booster and mod section isn't used at all. I'm not using that at all. The delay effects section, I was using the delay in the intro jam to be like the song All Your Love off this album, because it's the first song on the album. If you listen closely to that, it's definitely added post-production. Eric's got this kind of slapback echo and a reverb on his guitar that's definitely wouldn't be there in the studio. That's added post. But I was using the Katana's delay to simulate that. So I've got a slapback delay basically going on, and I've got the delay level at 9 o'clock. So I've got a kind of a really quick slapback. You'll hear it more in a bit anyway. I'll show you a bit more in a bit. That's what I'm using there. And I'm also using the reverb as well. And I've got the reverb set at 10 o'clock. There is a presence control built into the Katana, which is kind of preset at 12 o'clock, basically there. And I haven't touched that because it's internal. The only way you can get to that is through Tone Studio, and I haven't altered that on this amp. So the presence on this amp is still at 12 o'clock. So that's how I got the amp set up. Just a quick recap. Brown mode, gain on 0, volume all the way up, bass at 12 o'clock, Middle at 10:30, 11 o'clock, depending. No treble, no booster mod. Delay at 9 o'clock with a very, very quick slapback delay. And I've got the reverb, and I'm using the red delay. And I'm using the green reverb at 11 o'clock, just to add a little bit of kind of space, because otherwise it's just really dry. But I will show you the dry in the room sound as well when we start to get to sound examples. So, and I'm going to run it as well, very loud. So I've got the master volume at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to run it on the full 50 watt mode. You can run, the beauty of this amp being what it is, you can run this thing ridiculously whisper quiet and still have the same tone though. So, and I'll show you that as well. When I turn down the volume of the amp, you don't lose tone. It's great. So, so that's that, people tube. That's how I've got it set. The guitar we're going to use is the Revelation RTL 59. Mainly bridge pickup. I will show you a bit on the neck pickup, but Eric didn't really use the neck pickup. He used it for hideaway. You can hear it in hideaway, but mainly it's the bridge pickup. And basically everything's going to be on 10, you know, because that's what Eric did. So, you know, it was basically just turn the amp all the way up, turn the guitar all the way up, and go. That was basically what he did. No messing about there. So let's talk about Eric and how he got his sound and what he was using at the time, and also a very important little thing that I think is massively important, but we'll get to that in a bit. So Eric at the time was using a 60s Les Paul. He had a 1960s Les Paul, which eventually was stolen. And now no one knows where that is. It's the legendary Beano burst. No one knows where it is. It could be anywhere. It might not even be anymore. It might have been broken. Who knows? Anyway, so Eric had a 60s Les Paul. There was rumours of it being a 59, but I think it came out it was a 60. It had no covers on the pickup. They were taken off. So again, you know, the Revelation with its bridge pickup works really well with that, because I think. Well, I don't think. To me, when you have a cover on a humbucker, it does darken it down somewhat, and if you take it off, it's a bit more open and clear. So so that's that. It would have been a Cherry Burst Les Paul, and then the amp he had was just a Marshall Blues Breaker, the legendary Blues Breaker. You can see it in the background there, in that picture. And that amp apparently was made for Eric because he wanted something he could get in his car. Apparently. I don't know how true that is. But apparently the amp was made specifically for him so he could have it in his car and have that thing. But that's the amp he used. Hence why it's called the Blues Breaker. And that's it. You know, that's all he had. You know, it's very, very simple. And like I say, he actually talks in his book, his autobiography, of how he got the sound, of how they were recording and stuff. And I'll talk about this thing really importantly in a minute of what's key to that sound. But he says this about his Les Paul. What I would do is use the bridge pickup with all the bass turned up on the amp. So the sound was very thick and on the edge of distortion. So, you know, broken up. I always used amps that would overload, Marshalls. And I would have the amp on full, and I would have the volume on the guitar also turned up full. So everything was on full volume and overloading. I would then hit a note, hold it, give it some vibrato with my fingers until it's sustained, and then the distortion would turn into feedback. It was all these things, plus the distortion, that created what I suppose you could call my sound. He got my sound in quotations, really cool. So, you know, that's really cool. That's his autobiography, that. And I love that, because it gives you an insight into what he actually did. So that's what he did. You know, everything on 10 on the Les Paul, everything on 10 on the Marshall. Go for it. So, another thing he talks about, and this is where I feel, I've watched quite a lot of videos recently of people after the Beano tone. And I feel this is what people miss. Because when you listen to the Beano tone, you're hearing a guitar tone that's not necessarily what it would have sounded like in the room. You're hearing a guitar tone that's gone through a microphone, then into a mixer, and then out. And then also when you listen to it on, you know, it depends on what you're listening to it on as well, given quality of guitar tone. So what it would have sounded like in the room is probably not necessarily what it would have sounded like. It would have sounded similar, but not 100% the same. And there's a key to this, which I think is mic placement. So Eric also talks in his autobiography about the mic placement of where they put it. So he says this, because the album was recorded so quickly, it had a raw edge quality about it, which made it special. It was almost like a live performance. Definitely agree with that. It definitely sounds like a band in the room. I insisted on having the microphone exactly where I wanted it during the recording, which was not too close to the amplifier, so that I could play through it and get the same sound I had on the stage. So he knew that if the mic was further away from the amp, he could get his amp louder without overloading the microphone, which would just distort it. And if you look really closely at this picture on the back of the album, which I don't know how well you'll see it, there's a really interesting thing you can go away and look. So Eric and the mic stand here are in focus, yeah? The Marshall in the background, the blues breaker itself, isn't in focus, which means it's further away, obviously. So it says to me that it was quite a distance away. And if you go back in time, I did a video on this a while back of like, you know, how mic placement's so important. And you can hear, when you move the microphone away from an amplifier, the sound warms up and you get more of a round kind of room kind of sound. I reckon it sounds better. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to simulate that. So we're going to mic up the SM57. I don't know what mic they'd have used back in the day, who knows. But we're going to use the SM57 and I've got the mic literally about 3 feet, maybe 3.5 feet away from the amp. So I've got it a good distance. I'll show you it in a sec. But we're going to emulate that. And I feel this is a really important factor when trying to get the Beano tone. Because if you record it with the amp loud, with the microphone far away, and it sounds in the ballpark, I think you've got a better idea of what it would have been, the tone would have been, instead of it kind of like being close mic'd, which they didn't do. You know, Eric says they didn't close mic it. So that's the thing I think that people always miss when they go after this sound, is the fact if you're after a guitar sound that isn't close mic'd. And I'll also show you this amp close mic because it's a totally different world. It sounds really fizzy when you get the mic really close. It's not very nice. So to emulate that, which again I think is massively important to this tone, like I say, we've got the mic about 3.5 feet, 3 feet, give or take, away from the Katana. And I haven't actually done anything like try to be precise with the microphone. I've literally just put the microphone aiming at the amplifier and that's it. I haven't gone into kind of detail of trying to line it up perfectly with the speaker cone. I've just shoved the mic, aimed it at the amp, and that's it. And like I say, what we'll do in the video at some point is we'll move the mic closer and we'll close mic it so you can hear the difference. And I'll also show you the sound in the room as well using the XY on top. So there you go. That's it. That's it. So yeah, covered what I'm using, how I've got the amp set, the guitar, everything could be on 10. Like I say, we're just going to follow in Eric's footsteps. Spoke about what Eric used, how I've mic'd it up, and that's it. No pedals. Like I said, the only pedal that's going to be in line is a Ditto looper that's got 2 little backing tracks in it for me to play along to. But I will show you just the guitar alone. I'll show you it without the effects as well. So I'll turn the reverb and the echo off at one point, let you hear it dry. I'll show you it in the room and we'll show you it close mic'd as well. But I do feel that this mic placement is like key to getting this sound right. Because I always see people trying to get the Beano tone and they're close mic in the amp. And it's too direct. It's not the right tonality, and it takes away some of the roundness and warmth of the sound. Even though the sound's quite harsh, because it is, it takes some of that away and gives it a bigger sound. And Eric obviously knew this. And he obviously realised that, like, you know, well, if that mic's too close, not A, it'll overload the system, which at the time couldn't deal with that much volume, you know, little 4, 8-track or whatever they recorded this album onto, wouldn't be able to take the volume. And B, he obviously realised that the further away you are from the amp, the rounder it sounds. If you're close to the amp, it can sound quite harsh, but the further away you are, the nicer it sounds. And the fact he used to run bass flat out on his Marshall, you know, says, like, you know, it's quite interesting. I haven't run the bass flat out on the Katana because the Katana's bass is a lot more potent, if you will, than a blues breaker. Old Marshalls, their bass controls are either quite a lot, which is never enough, in my opinion, or nothing at all. You know, the bass control on an old Marshall is kind of like, they're not, you know, you have to have them turned all the way up, I find, most of the time. No, there are occasions where you'll turn it all the way down. People like Richie Blackmore, for instance, always used to run the bass on 0. And, you know, that's the way he used to run it. But I say Eric says that he ran his Marshall on with full bass and everything else on 10. So, you know, you can just imagine everything just flat out. Anyway, that's enough talking. spoke about Eric and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to put the album there for the time being because it looks cool. And yeah, and let's get into making sounds. So, oh, actually, quick before we do that, let me show you the mic quick and how far away it is from the amp, and just let you see it. So, okay, there you go. So you can see it's a big distance between the mic and the amp. So if I put the camera right over top, you can see. And again, the amp's kind of angled away. I'm trying to replicate what I can see in this picture. Like I say, the amp's actually angled kind of like off to Eric, so that's what I've kind of done here. But again, the mic isn't close to the amp. It's, you know, it's probably, in all fairness, it's probably further away than this, but Eric would have been his amp would have been a lot louder than this. So this seems to be about the right distance for the sound I'm trying to get today. So anyway, that's enough talking. Let's make some noise and yeah, let's go for it. Delay off. Okay, so yes, that's so that was at the end. I'm trying to simulate what it maybe sounds like in a club with loads of reverb or in a hall. I don't know how well it got, but I certainly enjoyed that. So I'll tell you what, though, it's loud. Oh my good grief, is it loud? Okay, so I'm going to show you what it sounds like in the room now. So I'm going to move the Mr. Camera to in the direction of the katana. And I'm going to show you what it sounds like on the room mic from this distance, bear in mind. So, I'm just going to remove this. So I do apologise about the volumes going up and down. Still peaking. So, okay, that's louder and you never ever need to go. If you need to be louder than that, there's something wrong. Holy monkeys, that's loud. Okay, so, rattle your ear lungs. Ear lungs? Why not? He's a clever boy. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. Hopefully that will pick it up okay. I do believe though that this mic placement further away is key. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit, just a little bit of a passage with the mic being where it is. Then I'm going to play the exact same thing with the mic right on the amp, close mic'd, and hopefully the difference will come across. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So yeah, gonna leave the mic where it is, about 3.5 feet, well, 3 feet, 3.5, somewhere in there from the amp. Gonna play a little kind of like 12-bar thing as best I can in Eric Clapton style, which. And then I'll notice I keep kind of like flitting. I kept going like between Eric Clapton, Peter Green, Gary Moore, there was Danny Kerwin in there, and then there's also Paul Kossoff. It's like, nope, we can't stay in one place. Anyway. So I might be shouting as well because I'm a bit deaf now. So yeah, so let's do that. So play a little bit with the mic dead far away, and then we'll move the mic in, and then that's that, people of the tube. So let's do that. people tube, there you go. I am totally deaf. I didn't wear earplugs because I'm clever. But people tube, let me know what you think. I feel that's pretty close. It's probably about as close as I can get it. Like, you're never going to get it 100%. It's impossible. If you got Eric Clapton in the same studio with the same amp and the same guitar, I don't think he'd be able to replicate that sound either. But I think you can get in the ballpark, and I feel that's close. It's a wicked sound. It's nasty. It's very, very rough and ragged. But again, like Eric says in his book, it was a very raw sound, and it definitely is. It's very kind of very cutting, very, very cutting. It fatigues your ears very fast. Whew, does it? My ears are whistling, but that's okay, because I'll just basically take a break now for about the next 10 years, and I should be okay. Okay, so, but yeah, people too, let me know what you thought. Like I say, very simple sound. Boss Katana 50, Revelation RTL 59, Beano tone on a budget. This is basically where I'm going with this one. Let me know how close you think I got to it. And again, I really do feel that mic placement is key for when you're recording and capturing this sound. Having a mic far away from the amplifier and the amplifier loud, I feel is really, really key. Oh, I didn't show you the amp on quiet, did I? Let me show you that really quick. I'll show you it now while we're here. So, yeah, so let's move out of the way of the speaker. So, there's the lead. I've got a plectrum. Did I put it over there? No, it's there. Good. Hey. Okay, so let me show you it on quiet, because, like I say, being Mr. Digital, we can actually turn the amp down and not die horribly of like volume thingy. So close enough. Okay, so 50 watt mode. Let's probably go even quieter than that, to be honest with you. How quiet can I go? Let's knock it down to 0.5 watt. My guitar's now louder than it, so I don't think you'll be able to hear that, but that's... all the mids and the lows are still in the same place. It's great. Without it trying to kill me. Anyway, so yeah, so you can turn it down and retain that volume. Again, beautiful thing about the Boss Katanas. So, people of tube, there you go. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Let me know how close you think I got to the infamous legendary Beano tone. On a budget as well. So I say just two elements to this: Boss Katana and Revelation RTL. So yeah. So, and if you want to see more of these kind of videos, kind of like on a budget kind of videos, just let me know. And we'll see what we can do. Obviously, I couldn't play any of the Bluesbreaker songs or anything like that. I could kind of approximate them, but I can't. I can't play them. But I think invariably, I think if I did do more of these videos, or the amp would always just be the Katana. Because you can do everything with these things. The 50 watts are just as versatile as their bigger brothers. I mean, I've got the 100 there, the artist upstairs. These things are just insane. But if you want to see more of these videos, like on a budget videos, let me know in the comments below, and let me know who you want to see as well. Like what artist you want to see. And I'll try and see what I can do. But I feel that's as close as I can get to that kind of like really raw bluesy tone that Eric had in 1966 with his 60s Les Paul and his Marshall Bluesbreaker. Again, I do feel the mic placement is key to capturing that sound when you're recording it, because if you record it and it sounds close when you recorded it, that means that's pretty much what it sounded like in the room, like give or take. I mean, there's always variables, and it's never going to be 100% perfect, but we know that. Anyway, so yes, people do. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below, and I'll see you again for another video very soon. I hope you enjoyed this vid. I hope there's some information there to kind of take away. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again. I'm off to rest my ears for the rest of the day, because they're whistling away. It was like, should have worn earplugs, but I didn't want to. I wanted to just kind of like experience it, because sometimes there is nothing quite like that. Anyway, goodbye now, everybody. Thank you very much for watching.